Now this car behind me is a multi-$100,000 pre-production prototype of the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. It is a watershed vehicle not just for Hyundai, but for the electric vehicle landscape, because it is aiming to make performance more affordable in the EV world. Now, just for the record, it is bloody freezing out here, -2, blowing a gale and dropping. The Arctic Circle, 35 kilometers that way. But Hyundai comes here to these extreme conditions to test extreme performance cars to make sure they do what buyers want. And today, I'm going to see how good this car is. Now, if you haven't already, do us a favor, subscribe to Drive so that when we drive new cars and next year's prototypes, you hear about it first. Okay, this Hyundai Ioniq 5N is the first electric performance car from Hyundai's Go Fast division. As such, it's a risky car for the brand. Get it right and it brings true performance EVs closer to everyday budgets. Get it wrong and it's an embarrassing slip-up by the brand that gave us the awesome i30N, i20N and the crazy Kona N hot hatches and SUVs. With those cars in its portfolio, Hyundai N knows a thing or two about building performance cars. And with 8 years at the top of the World Rally Championship, including 2 manufacturers' trophies, it also knows how to make all-wheel drive performance machines. But still, this EV era is a whole new game and a massive learning experience for all involved. So, is the Ioniq 5N going to be a success? We're going to spend the next 8 minutes going round in circles to find out.
Now, Hyundai must be really confident if they've brought us here and are letting us loose in this car. It is such an important car for them because this signals the start of a new direction or a new evolution, if you like, for Hyundai's N performance brand. They are stepping it up big time. Never before have they had an all-wheel drive performance car, never before have they had an EV performance car, and never before has Hyundai tried to charge $100,000 plus for a car in Australia. So it better be bloody good. Let's find out. Now, this electric car is obviously based on Hyundai Motor Group's eGMP platform, which gives us the standard Hyundai Ioniq 5. But it also gives us cars like the Genesis GV60 and Kia's EV6. But none of them promise to do what this car can do. Hyundai's N division is focused on 3 virtues. They call it corner rascal, racetrack capability, and everyday race car. So it's not good enough just to be good. It has to be a bona fide track day car. And that means it's got to be smart, it's got to be agile, and it's got to be dynamic. In order to accomplish that, they've given this car some of the latest generation technology. Not only is it all-wheel drive with a front motor and a rear electric motor, but it has an electronic limited slip diff at the rear. It also has a torque distribution system. Whoa, and around we go. Which is currently set to 100% rear. I probably should have checked that before we took off. But one of the things this car can do, oh holy hell. If you think the surface is slippery, now you know for sure, right? That is just crazy. Okay, we're gonna need to get some help from the front here. Wow. It is just so slippery underfoot when you get onto the ice. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's go with N-Race Optimizer. Okay. Now, one of the systems I said this car has is something called N torque distribution. What it can basically do is allows the driver to adjust how much drive the front axle is doing and how much drive the rear axle is doing. So for me to be fast in these ridiculously slippery conditions, I actually want to have more front bias. So I'm running right now at about 60%, 40%. And you can see I'm not doing a lot of countersteer. The car is is pretty much staying true and helping me get round. But with 40% in the rear, if I give it a bit of throttle, it does start to kick out. And you can see that every now and then. But if I go over here and I slide it all the way, so we are now 100% rear, 0 front, and I give it a little bit of throttle, all of a sudden we're really starting to have to work. It is surprisingly easy to control in this mode. You can kind of get a drift going and hold it there for periods of time. But if you want to look like a real champion, then you need to bring the car to a stop and you need to put it in drift mode. And that's what I'll do right now. If we ever stop. God, this situation is so slippery, it's incredible. Okay, now, N Drift Optimizer.
Hyundai wouldn't let us film the car's infotainment screen or its dashboard functions, so we can't show you the N Drift Mode pages or the N Torque distribution pages.
We are now in drift mode. What that basically means is that I primarily have 100% drive to the rear, but the car's electronics are going to help me by using the fronts where necessary, but also by helping me modulate the rears. And I don't know if you can see it, I hope you can see it on the camera, but it's basically making me look like a drift kid. I am on the lock stops right now, and we are just maintaining a level of drift that, look, I like to drift. I like to think I'm a good driver, but I'm not this good. It just shows you with electric motors and the immediacy of them and really smart software how clever cars can be and how good they can make you look. And that's key to what Hyundai's trying to accomplish with them. Look, they're on the record as saying they don't want the fastest car around a racetrack. They want the car that is the most fun around a racetrack. And they know that having a little bit of rear wheel slip or a lot of drift equals a lot of fun. But eventually, if you lose it, you're on your own. See, it's good, but it can't save you from yourself. Even in drift mode, if you get a bit carried away. Hyundai have been very welcoming by inviting Drive up perilously close to the Arctic Circle to drive a pre-production prototype that, to be honest, is probably worth $500,000. But they have been very cagey with specifics about this car. They won't tell us exactly what the power is.
It's a fair guess that something like the Kia EV6's 160 kilowatt front and 270 kilowatt rear motors will be in this car, although we've also heard total system outputs of 450 kilowatts bandied around by people in the know.
What that does is it changes the balance of power, so instead of having a 60-40 rear front, it's probably closer to a 30-70. They also haven't told us about weight, and this is a key point, right? Electric cars are heavy. Performance cars are not meant to be heavy. The lighter you make a performance car, the faster it'll go in a straight line, the faster it'll go around corners, the quicker it'll stop, the more grip it'll have. But the Hyundai Ioniq 5 starts off at over 2.1 tonnes. And information I have suggests that this Ioniq 5N, with its adaptive air suspension, with all its clever diffs, all the other stuff that this car needs, is somewhere close to 2.5 tonnes. That's a lot for a performance car. Hyundai says, don't worry, once you get in the car and you drive it, the weight ceases to matter. I don't know about that. It can't be 100% true, right? Because weight will affect the speed at which a car changes direction. It'll affect the speed at which a car can brake. It affects the speed at which it can accelerate, but it also affects things like brake wear, tyre wear, energy use. But you can't go past the requirements of electric cars and batteries to be heavy. So really, we're just going to have to start changing how we think about performance. And that ultimately is what Hyundai wants us to do. Just have fun. And I've got to say, this car is a lot of fun.
So that's a quick taste test of the new Hyundai Ioniq 5N coming to a road or maybe a racetrack near you in 2024. You can expect to pay something like $100,000 to $110,000, which may seem like a lot, but it's also something of a performance bargain in the EV world, for now at least. If you want to dive deeper into the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, get more data, see more photos of it in action, check out my full prototype drive report at Drive.com.au. And if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to Drive so when Drive drives new cars, you hear about it first.